Happy Saturday. Good morning. You're getting the very rainbow version of me. I'm feeling quite tired this Saturday. We're going to be going live with course member Lauren Richardson. Well, Lauren Richardson professionally, but she's going to come on here as Lauren Hell. And she's going to be talking about her experience of the How to Live and Love Your Brand course. I am Emma Lovell. I'm a personal branding coach and I'm based on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work and play. I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. The traditional custodians here are the Bundjalung people of the Yugambeh language region, and I recognise their ongoing commitment to the lands, waterways and skies. I'm now going to welcome in Lauren, who's going to do her own lovely introduction. Wow, lots of people on Saturday. I thought today would be a quiet day, but yay. It's fun. We get to chat. So hi, Alicia. Hi, Eleanor. Hi, Em. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Is this your first live?
It is. Can you tell?
No, I think it's wonderful. I love. I shouldn't say taking people's lives. I love introducing you to this new medium.
I'm very happy to be here. It's great.
Oh, it's so good that you're trying something new as well. And what I wanted to get you to start with, and just ease in with who are you?
Mm-hmm. I thought
just tell us who you are. But in your words, I'd love to hear you introduce yourself.
I am a public health practitioner and I work to help improve health outcomes for populations. So improving access to healthcare and quality of care for the Victorian population specifically.
And you're also currently a CEO.
Yeah, I am. It's a pretty big deal, but I kind of look at it as this thing I do on the side, which in effect I do, but actually it's and this is the thing about being a public health practitioner is, in a couple of words, I would just introduce myself as a public health practitioner, but a lot of people don't know what that is. So it warrants a bit of an explanation. And it's such a broad area. You can work in many different ways in public health. But yeah, being CEO, so I'm CEO of a non-for-profit called Community Health Advancement and Student Engagement, or CHASE. And so we're with disadvantaged youth in Melbourne's West to improve health outcomes through education, community partnerships, and it's very much aligned with my goal to help population level health outcomes improve for those who need it most. So yeah, it's something I definitely would not have thought to do, but more so had the confidence to do without first having done your course. And I can just say that, and I know I've told you many times, it's just amazing. It's such a game changer. Yeah, much more than earth changing. It's life changing. It's all encompassing. So yeah, I'm definitely a lot more confident and a lot clearer on who I am and what I do and what I want to do. And I really enjoy it. So I do a lot of things, but I only do the things I want to do. And I know that are me. And so it doesn't, from the outside, people are like, oh my God, aren't you tired? I'm like, aren't you bored?
You're like, a bit, but when you're excited about things, that's the thing. I think sometimes, people think that maybe I'm going to tell them to do one thing. Well, actually, I don't tell people to do. I just ask you what you want to do, but you can do multiple things. You can be multiple things. We don't have to be one thing. You're also a mother. You also have children. Yeah, but you're also a person who has interests. And it's a little fun story how we know it. How do we know each other?
Wow. How do we know each other? I mean, we know each other through our mums meeting at mums group, right? With our siblings. We've known
each other since we were 1 year old.
Yeah, yeah. I know we hung out a lot, but so essentially we grew up together. Holidays, Christmases, which turned into Boxing Days, and so on. Remember that time there was a bushfire and you guys came and lived with us for a bit with all your animals? It was amazing.
I mean, time of my life. No, it was lovely. It was super fun. Lovely that you took us in, our ducks and our cats, and all of that stuff in laundry baskets.
Yep.
yeah, it was super fun. But no, so we've been in each other's lives for a long time, but kind of coming in and out of each other's lives. So it's really been wonderful to have you in my life in the last a few years because, really supported me on my mother journey. And then, yeah, I guess it was through we were talking and I was sharing about the course and, I just talked to my friends about things and I was quite surprised and delighted that you actually wanted to join. You were like, no, I want to do it.
Yes, well, that's it. So, yeah, I guess we reconnected being mums and we've done our thing. And when you were talking about it, though, it jumped out to me because um, I think that, like I said, public health is very broad. And I think at that time, I struggled for quite a while to sort of work out what's the thing, like who am I almost, because especially not just working in public health, but working in a big organization like the Department of Health. It's huge and there's a lot of roles and a lot of criteria. And you can very easily get, and I know this from having conversations with many, many people, you can get very stuck trying to fit into a certain role. And it's kind of okay to sort of, adapt to apply for something and align yourself. But a lot of the time you're not actually aligning you're trying to fit in. And then after a while, that, because that's the nature of the department, you change roles a lot. Like, it's very uncommon for people working in public service to stay in something for a very long time. It's quite, acceptable to move around quite a bit. And I think that's probably true of most professions now anyway. So I don't know why I'm justifying it, but that, you can really lose yourself in doing that and start to think, oh, what do I want? And before you know it, you can be kind of lost, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were working on the COVID response. So I think when when this sort of came out, you were pretty, I want to say burnout, pretty exhausted, a bit, overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely overwhelmed. But also for me, working in public health, COVID it was intense, but it was actually career defining. I think I must have had about 5 jobs in 1 year through that, all very good. Working my way through to identify who I was. It really helped facilitate that. But because it accelerated my career so quickly, I was in different roles and I absolutely loved it. And I was starting to realize, well, what am I going to do after this? When this wraps up, what's my next move? And that forced me to beg the question, well, who am I? And I've always been like that. I need to know who I am to be happy. I need to know what am I doing? What's the thing? Am I a health economist? I did a lot of health economics at some stage. Am I an epidemiologist? No, not quite. And then I asked someone, a really quite an expert in public health and professor, and I was like, well, what is it? Who am I? What do I do? How do you know what it is? And she said, maybe public health is the thing. Maybe it doesn't matter where you are. Maybe as long as it's public health, you're happy. But for me, and that was great, but at the same time, that was the cue for me to be like, okay, well, what is it about public health? Is that me? So you really need to understand yourself to be able to be content with that.
Yeah, and I think one of the parts that you really loved that you were and Lauren was so great in the course. So it's on a platform, which is awesome because you can watch videos and you can, download the things at your own pace. And I just loved it because I knew Lauren was working on it. I'd get all these emails with like comments and notifications. And I love that. I want interaction. And, but you really enjoyed the getting to know you, I think, the getting to know you section.
Yeah, I was just actually reflecting just before we joined on all the work that I did with the course and revisiting, which I haven't done for a little while now. So it's quite interesting to see where I started, how I saw myself, how I thought others saw me. And yeah, I mean, with the course, getting to know other women doing the course as well was really supportive, but also I felt like it was good to sort of test myself and my thinking around how do I introduce myself and having conversations and understanding other people's perspectives and that you're not kind of in it on your own from other people. But because I was working a lot, yeah, I mean, at some stage I sort of took that first part of really, what is this about? What do you want out of this? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Let's go there. And then I kind of at some point felt like it was actually really flexible for me because I was like, hey, I can't keep interacting at these times, but I'm just going to keep working now and I'm just going to reach out when I need help, which is why I was always like, hey, what do you mean? What about this? Does it sound right to you? And I got so much support in that way. And it really worked for me. Like you said, I got 2 kids. I think I was still studying at the time as well. and then working full time. But I still managed to do this course. And I think at some point I thought, oh, it's disappointing because I'm probably not going to get as much out of it. But I couldn't have been more wrong. I use it every day.
That means a lot to me.
Operate now. And I advocate for everybody. Like, you need personal branding. Everybody this course, and I've done bits and pieces of just your CV and application, which has been very helpful, but this was more about me, not about an application. This was about me, and you can't ever overinvest in yourself. You can't lose that. I've been so much more efficient with my choices and more specific, which is great. I don't burn myself out trying to apply for 1,000 jobs. I know this is the job, and I'm going to apply for that. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to do that. And it's happened.
And it's been so great you going through it and like seeing you get that CEO role. But, you know, I have another woman in the course who's a CEO currently, who's running through the course as CEO. And, you know, I think sometimes women in corporate roles or who are in jobs, like women who run businesses, can see the value of personal brand and understand that they need to put themselves forward. But I think sometimes people are like, oh, no, well, I'm in a job, like I work for an organization, or I'm not looking for a job, so I don't need my personal brand. And it's like, well, you already have one. And potentially it's impacting you from leveling up in what you're doing. Potentially you're actually where you're at is not servicing you the way that it could be. Potentially you think that you're showing up to work this way and that you're received this way, and you're like, yeah, I'm putting myself forward for opportunities, I'm doing this, and people are like, well, we're not actually getting that vibe. Like, well, you didn't actually tell us what you wanted. Like, you know, did you actually tell someone you want to take on more leadership opportunities? Did you tell them that you want to be a manager? Did you tell them that you don't like the role you're in and you actually want to be over here in this department? Like, all that stuff, that's all about personal brand too.
And it's much easier once you've done personal branding to be able to have those conversations and get something out of it and have the confidence to say, hey, I don't like this particular, I really like this, and this is what I'm doing. And it just opens up the opportunities I think that you always had, but there was this barrier because you just weren't clear on it. And so how can anyone else know if you don't even know?
You're holding yourself back. Yeah, in a way. But one of the things that you really highlighted and I loved, and I remember you just being so delighted with it, was the values and doing your values, and how much you thought you knew, but
I had no idea. And I really think that this is one thing. I'm sure there are people out there who agree, and I'm not afraid to say this, but a lot of people that I honestly was like, but what are values? Like, I do feel like it's a term people kind of throw around, but really, and I mean, I've even done other courses, sort of kind of like a branding course or just a talk even, and they'll be like, so identify your values, and then they move on. It's like, hold on a minute. And so with your course, you do a whole activity session support that follows on, just dedicated to investing the time in identifying your values. And I'm going to take you through and show you how to actually find out what they even are with a rigorous approach. And I still have those, like the cards, and it starts out massive. You put everything out, and then you go through and you prioritize, okay, well, what you break it down into manageable components rather than being overwhelmed by, well, what is it that I stand for? I'm like, I don't know, there's so much. And then sometimes you think you know, but actually you haven't taken the time to consider all of the aspects and all of the options, and then thought about, but what does it mean to you? Because that one word, like, you know, purpose, can mean a lot of different things. So it was great that you essentially held my hand and took me through that process. And then I was able to, I don't know, become intimate with those values, and to the point where I even, so just to backtrack, you kind of have all these values out there and you prioritize them, and then you go, okay, what's not as important? Those, let's move them out of the equation. And you keep doing that until you get to those, here are my top 5. And so you're very comfortable by the time you get there, because it's not saying, well, I don't value those things at all, but you're saying, but what are my main things? Because you can't do everything, right? So this helps straight and focused and purposeful. And I had them stuck on my wall for ages. The only reason I don't now is because we've moved around a bit. But when I resettle, this is how I like to build my workspace. I had them in front of me at all times. And it was really important because those values actually captured who I was as a person, not just work, which happened to align with my work, but also reminded me that family. And I was surprised. This is going to sound horrible as a mum, but I was surprised that actually family was my top 5. And guess what? I wasn't acknowledging that or prioritizing that. And therefore there was something missing. And you helped me realize as a mum, as a really career driven mum, actually it's okay to value family. In fact, you should. And if that's true for you, then you can use that as part of your motivation. And that will help you include everything in your life without feeling like I can only do this, I can only do work, and this is a separate thing. My family is very much a part of me and what I do. And
well, it's what drives you. And I think, you know, sometimes, yeah, like even companies, they'll stick the value, they'll do the values exercise and they'll stick them up on the wall, but they should really be a compass point. They should be something that you keep coming back to. And it's like every decision, it's like, is this in alignment with my values? Or recognizing sometimes when you are resentful or, you know, in discomfort or not, you know, not really like, you're like something's not right, and it's like if you can go back to those values, it's like, oh, because this is taking me away from my family, or this doesn't have purpose. Like I can't, you know, for me one of my values is passion, and it's like if I sometimes I go, I'll just suck it up and I'll just do it. It's like, well, no, because that's not in alignment with I'm not going to be able to show up without passion. And it's like it's either a hell yes or it's a hell no, and not everybody needs to live on that scale, but I do. And you know, like you're saying, I think sometimes people though will go for like the cop out values. I'm not being, you know, but they'll be like, you know, my family and spirituality and world peace, and I'm like, yeah, but are they the things that drive you? Because for me, family's not in my top 5, which like my dad was kind of like, oh, okay, and I'm like, yeah, but my values, my values help me to be the best person that I can be, so that I can be there for my family and be the best person for my friends and contribute to the world. That's how I interpret it. And that's the thing, you've got to be able to make these values work for you, and they can't do anything if they don't, you know, if they're not present and you're not checking in with them and you're not going, you know, let me just do a check. And you should have values in line with your, you know, for people who own businesses. I know Ray's here, he's a big values person, like having similar values in terms of the clients that you work with. The same with the role that you're taking on. If you're working for an organization that your values are misaligned, you're never going to feel content. You're never going to be able to be your best, and you're always going to have to be sort of hiding or, you know, pushing down a part of yourself to show up for that. And that just takes so much energy. Yeah. So I'm not telling everyone to go quit their jobs, but I'm like, just go and check, you know, like don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you know, these are big questions, and you've got to think about it. And it is hard to do that work on your own, isn't it?
100%. And I like to think I'm pretty good with things like that, but I didn't realize how much I needed it until I did it. I took a leap of faith because I know you're good at what you do. And I saw people raving about it. I'm like, this is a good time for me. And I remember saying to you, I need to do this. Why are you not? Everybody should be doing this. And I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm all about health and improving systems. Very, very different. But like you said, everybody's got a brand. And I mean, one thing I've noticed is I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I'm on there quite a bit. And I'm on there now because I think, and I've had other people in health ask me some sort of questions around, oh, it's a bit scary on LinkedIn, isn't it? Because when you say something, when you're from a sciencey background or evidence-based background, it's, you know, how do you put yourself out there? Because what if you're wrong? And that really blocks people from engaging and showing up. And so I think one of the most important lessons I learned from you was, and remember I asked you, that was one of my questions. I was like, I'm really struggling with this because as an academic science person, I struggle to I really overthink before I post anything, to miss opportunities, and I can't just relax and just say, hey, this is what I think. And one of my things was I want to become someone in authority on what it is that I do. I want to be
thought leader,
better. I want to lead. I want, you know, I have an opinion. I want to share. I work hard for that. Why am I feeling like this? And you were really reassuring in that, you know, you highlighted to me that, well, but it's your opinion. So it's just a matter of how you frame it. And it can be wrong I mean, you will never please everybody, even for something that's evidence-based. You just make it clear, this is from your perspective, from your opinion.
From my
And
understanding of the data.
yeah. So I think that if you look at it that way, it's not so scary. And you're always going to have people that may find something with it or add something to it or poke holes in it. And that's okay. You can have healthy debates, discussions, and people can weigh. It doesn't need to be right or wrong. It's, yeah. So, I mean,
It's nice to be challenged. And there was a great episode recently. Brene Brown had an episode, 2 episodes actually, with
yeah.
Simon Sinek and Adam Grant. And basically they were like, you know, prove me wrong, or like, am I wrong? You know, and they were all like really, really open, and like, how amazing is it to have your mind changed? Like, and there are thought leaders out there who have been out there for years, 10 years, and they've written books on stuff, and then someone's come up and given a new perspective, and they've gone, oh. And how much more do you respect that person for going, oh, like, I hadn't thought about it from that way, thank you, but not just coming in and going, you're wrong, this is how it is, da-da-da. Like, we can have conversations and we can be challenged and we can do it in a diplomatic way. I mean, sometimes that could give you a nice red flag and you go, well, you're not someone I want in my world, thank you very much. You don't do it. But
like that.
Yeah. But, you know, I talk about my pregnancy journey a lot. You know, you were right there alongside with me. But, you know, that had some people challenge me on that. They're like, pregnancy is beautiful. And I'm like, that's your opinion and that's your experience. That's your belief. For me, it was not. And whenever I talked about it, I said, I do not enjoy pregnancy. I am not having a good experience. From my experience or from talking to other women that I know, this is what they have said. Yeah, absolutely. We can respectfully agree to disagree. We can have different feelings about it, but you can't, you know, you don't tell someone that their feeling is wrong or that their experience is wrong. And that's just framing. And so you can go out there with a thought, and actually, you know, there's a lot of sort of schools of thought on the fact that you really should be a bit polarizing. You know, there will be people who won't like the way that I come across, and they won't like the way that I talk about brand. And that's okay, because I don't want to work with someone who isn't willing to accept what I'm offering. I also don't want someone who's going to blindly accept everything I say. You know, I love, there's a lot, I don't know if Leisha's still here. I loved you. I love you coming to me and going, Emmy, you're talking about this. What does that mean? And it's like, oh, well, maybe I haven't articulated that clearly enough. So let's talk about it. Or, okay, that it's not working this way. And I had to really work with you. You know, I did have to, because I tend to work with entrepreneurs and business owners and people who work in a way like me and freelancers. So I get that. Because I haven't worked, I've done contracting, but I haven't actually worked in corporate. Thank you, Leisha. I haven't worked in corporate environments as much. I can't speak to it, but I have seen it, and I still stand by and believe that, well, I absolutely 100% believe everybody has a personal brand, but I also believe that it is worthwhile, very worthwhile, to work on it, regardless of where you're working. And I would almost say as well, I would definitely say even for mothers, you know, people who aren't working, you know, because it's about your identity. It's how you hold yourself, who you are, being comfortable and confident and clear about that. And so, you know, we don't want to be going, oh no, I'm just not working at the moment. I'm just at home with my kids. It's like, no, I'm a mum. I have children. That's what I've chosen. I am a career woman. That's what I've chosen. I run a business. That's what I've chosen. This is who I am. Like, it's not all of who I am. This is what I'm doing, and I am me. And so I think it's like, I can't tell everybody I want to work with them, but I really appreciated, as I say, I really appreciate Leisha challenging me and you challenging me on how do I communicate this information, because I want you all to get the most value out of it and to interpret it in your way so that you can be you.
Yeah, well, and it's a gift. You have a gift, and you've given me the gift, and it keeps on giving because you can't undo that. I'll just go, you know, I'll just get more confident and, you know, be involved in things that mean something to me, and we align with each other. So it's win-win for the organization or people I work with and myself. And as a leader now and as a CEO, I think that that's just so important, because I am able to show up and lead authentically now but this is who I am, and I'm super comfortable with that, and I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. And it's not about me as much as about the people I'm working with and how can I help you deliver on this vision that we collectively have. And, you know, the more aligned people are with themselves, then it's just a beautiful thing. And it just kind of means that the world would just be so much more efficient if everybody was just clear on what they were doing, who they are, where they are right now. And everybody was just contributing the way that that is their strength and that is their values. And that, you know, I mean, the world would be a better place, wouldn't it? So,
well, you know, and like that's what you're saying. Basically, this course will make the world a better place. Thank you, Lauren. That's going on the tagline. No, but you were saying that before. It made me think, like, how much less energy is that as well? Like, how much less energy is that you can now just be like, well, I'm me, and this is the way I lead, and I'm comfortable with that, and I'm confident in that. So now, what do my team need from me? Whereas if you're spending so much time and energy worrying about what everyone else thinks, or what if I say this, and then everybody, what are they going to think, and how are they going to react, and that's up to them. You know, we can't control how other people behave or how other people respond or how they react, but we can control what we put out there, the message that we put out there, and how we choose to show up, and then we can then hope that they would receive us in the way it's intended.
Absolutely.
Eleanor.
It does, but like, I think it was my aunt used to say this. If you're going to be, I don't know, not everybody needs to be, you know, a medical doctor or a brain surgeon or working for NASA. If you do, that's great. But if you're going to do it really well. If you're going to be a garbage man, be the best garbage man or woman. But like, you can't do that until you know who you are and what it is you stand for. And there are these amazing people out there doing just like the most simple task, but you can see them. They stand out a mile away. They light up a room. They're just so happy where they are. They're doing a great job. And we need people to do well at everything there is to do in this world to make it work. So if we can you're helping people navigate. And you really took me from Lauren, who works at the Department of Health, to a public health practitioner who happens to be working at the Department of Health right now. And all that, well, actually, it's me, and this is where I work at the moment, but I'm not defined by my role anymore, and I was. And that wasn't the department's fault. That was just how I operated. And I think I see a lot of people do it, and they don't even realize, and some people do realize, but they're not sure what to do about it. And I would just say, you know, to people thinking, I don't have time for that, you don't have time to not do that.
Yes, and we've got on this call, Eleanor is a HR specialist, so she's totally all over that. We've got wonderful BT Immigration. She helps people with immigration. Like, how incredible is that? We've got Leisha, who's an IT gun. She's a change maker. She changes the way that people operate in their system. I mean, I've been sending her IT questions. Like, basically, I just get these people who go and do my course, and then I'm like, can you IT, can you help me? HR, can you help me? Lauren, what does this mean? Like, what's happening with COVID right now? It's like on the daily. I just have people that I get, you know, they are, and that's what I love. You're all experts. And it's just, my role is to help you see that and to own it, and then to go out there and be louder about it. And I love that you're doing that.
Oh, I couldn't have been louder if I tried. I mean, if you look back in the past year, I have done everything I wanted to do that I said I was going to do. It may not have, I could never have dreamt it up. It just kind of, it just happened naturally. And yeah, I mean, it's something to be said about putting it out in the universe, that's for sure, because then you're accountable.
Yeah, you're attracting it, but you're being clear about what you want. And I think that's what I say to people. I'm like, how do we know what you want if you're not asking for it? If you're not telling people, if you're not saying it, that whole, like, and I hope you'll change this too, Lauren, that like, with children, we used to say, make a wish and don't tell anybody. It's like, no, say your wish. If you want a pony, say it out loud. Like, maybe somebody will give you a pony. You know, if you want to, you know, be the best soccer player in the world, cool. Well, let's go train for soccer. Like, we should share our dreams. And obviously, some people have said, don't, like, some people will crush that, and, you know, that sucks and that's hard. So, and that's what's happened. Then you go, no, I'm going to keep everything close to my chest. But if we don't say things out loud, if we don't say what we want, if we don't, then how can people help us to get there? How can we believe in the journey ourselves? Like, how would other people believe in us if we don't even believe in ourselves? You know, it starts with you.
I'm just reading the beautiful comments that are coming up as well.
I know. You can come to every single one. You just come to every single one. But all of you, yes. Oh, thank you so much, Eleanor. Yeah, you two need to connect. She's fabulous. Ellen actually runs HR conversations on Friday, which is really helpful. It's for like probably business owners, but it'd be interesting from a you know, if you have any staff or employees, it's a great perspective too.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I just like highlighting everyone here, but Lauren, you've given so much value, and I so appreciate you for taking this time. I mean, if there's any other like takeaways you have, I'd love to hear those, or any like sort of words of advice.
Oh, look, I've said it all. I would just say, if you're hesitating or you're not sure if it's for you, reach out to Emma. It's just something that you can't regret doing it. It's just investing in yourself. And I would also say that I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong time to do it. As soon as you're aware that this is something that can be really worthwhile, that's the time to do it. And I've got, like I said, a lot of volunteers that work for Chase, and they're really young, and you know, they're starting out on their careers, and I think that's a good time to be doing self-branding, because that would be helpful. But you know, it's never too late. But I'd also say it's not too early either. If you're just starting, you don't really know what you're doing, I think that's a great time to do it, because it's not just about career. It's not just about your job that you're going to do next. It's about you, and how can you navigate all the options out there when you don't even know who you are yet. And so I really feel that you're well placed to help people at least start the journey and really think about and question themselves and embrace who they really are, and discover that, because that's the biggest gift you can give.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a joy. You know, we both get like a little bit emotional. It's been such a joy, and that's why I love seeing this journey and being on the journey with these women, and that fact that you know, you can keep coming back to it, like, because we will, you know, I never sugarcoat it. I'm like, there are going to be other times in your life. There could be another pandemic. There could be another redundancy. There could be another business closing, or there could be another child coming along, or a marriage breakdown, or I don't know, something else that just takes you off your path and makes you think, well, who am I without that? I could be moving to a new city. Who am I without that thing that anchors me to me? And it's like all the external stuff. So it's like, okay, well, let's go back to the process. Let's go back to the start. Let's get to know me again. Let's, who do I want to be talking to? Where I want to be? What do I want to be doing? How am I showing up at the moment? What's that representing? Okay, well, how can I modify that so that I am doing more of what I want to be doing? Like, you just go back. It's a cycle. You just go back to the start. And what I always say, and you know that I'm on this journey too, Lauren, I'm constantly seeking feedback, because I am growing too. I'm not sitting here going, yeah, my personal brand is done. This is it. This is me forever. Like, I'm changing. I'm evolving. I'm growing. Like, I'm learning. My little boy is teaching me so much. We could be in a different place, like, at some point. I can hear him now. You know, so I'm doing the work too, and I'm always on this journey with you all. And
I love it.
Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up on a Saturday. I so appreciate it. It's been beautiful. Thank you, Lauren. You're a dream, and
Thanks,
pleasure to have you in my life.
Oh.
All right, this is going to be, so if you are interested in the course, I've got to do the plug. It's link in bio. You can send me a message. We can have a chat, all up there. And the chat will be in if you are replaying, comment, add questions. I'm always going to get back to you. And I'm going to share this on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Thanks, Ray. Isn't she beautiful? She's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, Lauren, thank you for honestly, like, what you're contributing as well. Like, talking about health and the goal that you have, we need more of that as well. So I'm so excited to see your mission come to fruition.
My wins are your wins.
Ooh, look at us with all these little taglines. I love it. Have a good day, gorgeous. Okay. Thanks, everyone.